Thanks, buddy. Raj, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, great to be here, and really appreciate the panel you've put together, Will. So I'm Raj Malhotra. I'm founder and CEO of SmartWeave. I'll talk about SmartWeave in a moment. I myself also, like these other gentlemen, am a serial founder and have built some sizable companies. I started one of the largest medical document management companies in the country, which grew to several thousand people and is now part of Microsoft. What drew me to Puerto Rico is that I felt that there was an valuation gap, in the sense that some of the workforces and technologies that had historically been on the island were undervalued, and so saw that opportunity to really leverage that R&D base, which is what we are doing with SmartWeave. SmartWeave is a bioconvergence platform, so this is a company that operates at the intersection of artificial intelligence, synthetic biology, and advanced manufacturing. And what we are building with this combination is a next generation of smart tissues. These are tissues that will revolutionize how people treat everything from wounds to urological care to cardiac patches, and a whole range of other modalities in orthopedics and so on. Very excited to be here.
Thanks, Daniel. So Raj, could you talk about Puerto Rico's got a base of manufacturing expertise, but could you talk to us about where you see the future of biomanufacturing and how Puerto Rico might help that future?
Yeah, thank you. Well, so we see being this economy, as well as frankly the world at large, being at a bit of a phase change point in terms of the kinds of manufacturing that it's going to go through. We ourselves are intending to build out 3D printer farms. So our devices, implants, will be built and manufactured using precision 3D printing kinds of technologies. And we anticipate very much that we'll be building out that kind of infrastructure on the island. So there would be large printer farms that will be churning out aspects that will be important for, of course, our technologies, but also for other clients that we may have. And they may be companies, that include, of course, medical device majors, but also hospitals and clinics who might want to use the same kind of base to produce parts of their own devices or to produce training materials for students and so on. This sort of shift from mass-produced devices that are made on an assembly line and have been very much part of the past industrial revolution is now going to give way to the future that you were asking about, which is going to be much more personalized devices, personalized medicine, that it will be done for an individual. And so that trend is an unbeatable trend. And we see very much the advantages that Puerto Rico brings in terms of its deep experience and expertise in GMP processes being very applicable to that next generation. Because effectively, Puerto Rico could become the advanced manufacturing hub for this next generation as it comes down. And it sort of, as this new generation of manufacturing supplants or coexists with the previous one. And in that case, you know, the advantages don't just go to big factory type of scale environments. They also go to agile environments that are much more tailored to a particular indication, to a particular type of disease process, or a particular type of even individual patient type. And that's, I think, where Puerto Rico's future lies within that biomanufacturing sector.
Great, thanks, Raj. Thanks. Raj, you're raising capital. Can you talk about how the capital environment is in Puerto Rico and differences between other jurisdictions and the challenges that you face there, or considerations there?
Yeah, thanks, Will. I think much to what Buddy was saying, the challenge that Puerto Rico has is the perception challenge largely, and as I think we're all picking out, there's, you know, undervalued talent, undervalued capacity and capability in some ways, but getting that message across to investors, especially those who are not from this part of the world, is a factor in that journey. I'd also say, as a bit of a segue from your question, and also to tie into what Buddy was talking about, Puerto Rico has historically had these strong knowledge assets, but they've been often in the service of large companies. So it's been a division of a large device company or a large pharma company that will locate here. The sort of journey that we are pursuing is actually inverting that value chain. So we intend to do a lot of our R&D here. We also have collaborators in, from places like Stanford and Harvard and MIT, but we are planning to do much of our R&D here because we believe there's value to be gained here. So getting that story to come together as a compelling logic for why the kinds of advantages that my other co-panelists have been talking about, in combination with world-class R&D, can actually make this a value driver so that, in fact, intellectual property can be grown and groomed on the island, is a massive challenge. But it's also, I would say, the sort of challenge that Puerto Rico needs to cultivate, because there should ideally be many such smart weaves that get birthed on the island. That is really the opportunity. And so as part of what we are doing, we're trying to figure out what should that ecosystem look like. The kinds of, rigmarole that we just heard about is a thing of the past, so that in fact there could be an expedited process for certain types of R&D forward companies to locate here and grow here, and actually be born here and be birthed here. In our we have a bit of a mantra when we talk about this, is that often when you, for example, you open a computer made by Apple and you see it says in the box designed in California, we'd like for the same to apply to when people use SmartWeave devices in the future, designed in Puerto Rico. And that's really the goal for us. And so that's what we need to convince investors is going to be a future that's very viable.
Raj, you've built a number of big businesses, and you did that in different ecosystems. What are some of the obvious things that are missing in Puerto Rico that need to be fixed in order to have a reliable, scalable business environment?
Yeah, Biddy, that's an important question. I've thought about this even outside the panel a bunch because I keep comparing my experience. And what I touched on it even in my last response is the one thing that seems to be missing is that the system is got too many interfaces, too many touch points. And you've heard some of my other co-panelists talk about the kind of complexity and opaqueness that it presents to outsiders, or people who haven't built in Puerto Rico before. And at some level, that's, in certain ways, self-serving to the firms that are here or already established, but it deters new entrants, or certainly entrants which have strong R&D capability or interest, from setting up here. And if they aren't already a large multinational or a large financial group that is simply adding an extension to their balance sheet, it presents another set of challenges. And that's unfortunate, because those are the kinds of companies that the island needs to attract to change its sort of balance of payments issues and the kinds of economic deficits and so on. Because again, once you start for Puerto Rico to become a place where intellectual property, intellectual value is generated as opposed to simply harnessed, you'd start seeing much larger revenues and royalties and licenses, especially in the kinds of industries we are running, start accruing to the balance sheet for the economy. And that's a real problem. And so from a comparative perspective, having a one-stop shop, almost a one-window kind of clearance for certain types of industries, which the island does see as important as regional drivers of growth, there could be a way to build a clearance operation that all these things can happen quickly. Within literally 24 hours, 48 hours, you can get your clearances and your letters of intent and your registrations all in a very streamlined way. And if that could be done, that would be huge. Because I personally know of so many companies, whether it's in Silicon Valley and Boston and some of the other major industrial centers, certainly in the United States, but also outside, who would really consider this as a viable option, because they don't then have to navigate this Byzantine web of connections and relationships, which obviously over time we've built too, but it's taken longer, and wish it had been much simpler. So that would be a gift that we'd want to give to next generation of companies like ours who are looking to truly start up from the island.
Great.
Yeah, I'll take a minute as well. We've talked a lot about the factor inputs, economic incentives, technology advantages. But in my humble opinion, one of the biggest advantages Puerto Rico has is the vibrant culture and the warmth and dynamism and sort of native entrepreneurial fabric is really unusual, and it's an advantage that really the economy needs to build on and can spawn, hundreds of companies like ours.